Coming up on Smart Tech today, Matthew Cassinelli and I are here to talk about follow-up. That's right, we had some topics last week. We figured out why Matthew's automations weren't working, his location-based automations. I got a refund for my Nest service being out. Plus, Boosted Board lays off its staff, and Matthew's very sad about it. We talk a little about Rebel.io, that's the Pebble reboot. And we talk about how ALEXA can help you find out what you need to know about the election. Plus projects, picks of the week, and so much more. Stay tuned for Smart Tech Today. Smart Tech Today is brought to you from LastPass Studios. You're focused on security, but are your employees? LastPass can ensure that they are by making access and authentication seamless. Visit lastpass.com/twit to learn more.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This episode of Smart Tech Today is brought to you by Casper. Casper is a sleep brand that makes expertly designed products to help you get your best rest one night at a time. Get $100 towards select mattresses by visiting casper.com/STT and using the promo code STT at checkout. Welcome to Smart Tech Today, where we explain the exciting, the dynamic, and the sometimes confusing subject that is the Internet of Things. I am Mikah Sargent.
And I'm Matthew Cassinelli.
That's right.
Hello.
Yes, he is. He's Matthew, the guy, Cassinelli. I'm going with that.
Sure.
Yeah. Now, I know, we don't want to do too much side chat, but I do need to know, to your right, there is a white pot.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say something.
What's inside the white pot?
It's a nice little plant that my girlfriend got me for Valentine's Day.
Oh, what is it?
Succulents of a variety.
Ooh.
I think it's already getting a little dried out, so
it's a multi-succulent.
I do need to take care of it again.
Yeah, stick your finger in there. If it's dry, might be time. I think I told you my succulent that I saved from dying on the side of a hill. I'm going to have to start giving pieces of it away. It's growing so large. Yeah. I moved it from a tiny pot, like a little succulent pot, to what used to be a candle. I brought out my glass drill and drilled some holes in the bottom of the candle. Ooh. Put it in there. It looked really nice, but now it's getting so big and I need to put it into a new pot. It's just growing riudicculously. So yeah,
you have to put it on set behind you so I can comment on it.
That's what I should do. Well, whenever we all start working from home due to coronavirus. Well, that's actually, that's a real thing that we are talking about here at Twit.
That's
so
fair.
we've got that in the works if we need to. And so then, and only then, will you get to see my, was it Bodega Bay? No, it was Van Dam State Park succulent. But let's go into some follow-up to kick things off.
Sure.
I've been wondering this. I actually just sort of came to understand what you've been meaning this whole time when you were talking about how you were having issues with setting up location-based automations for your HomeKit home, and you have figured out why it's not working. When you sent me this message, I don't remember when I saw it, but I saw it. It was one of those situations where I looked at it and I was like, I'm going to respond to this later when I have some time. Completely forgot to, but I was checking on it again today, and I realized that one of my location-based automations wasn't working. And so I did some research online, and I'm curious if we've come to the same understanding here. So tell me what's going on.
Well, if your situation is that you are unobservant, then maybe that's the case. But what happened for me was, I think it was basically just set to night. And I didn't realize that. Because it is, you do have to see in automations in the home app, you have to go like 3 levels deep to see the actual specific thing. It says like when the first person arrives home, then it's like I'm home is the scene that we have set. And it's like, then you have to go into the when menu, and then it says like, down at the bottom that it's at night. So that was pretty much it. And
so
I just didn't realize
because timing issue.
Yeah, it's like I work from home all day long, and so normally I would be like getting home and be like, why aren't the lights going on? Or also, I guess even sunset's been a little bit later than normal. So
that makes sense. Okay.
So I'm pretty much just like had it set wrong. So even people who supposedly do this professionally can just make stupid mistakes.
For me, it was that mine was a little bit more of a bug. Not so much a keyboard. What is that? Between the keyboard and I don't remember. Anyway, it was that I needed to, thank you. I can't think of what it's called, but I needed to log out. So those of you out there, if you're having location issues, and it's not, a matter of making sure that you have the timing right. It could be if you've had your home hubs set up in different locations in the past, you may need to sort of reset them. And so what I had to do, my Apple TV was not sort of re-registering the new location where I have it now. It was still kind of thinking it was somewhere else. And so by logging out of iCloud on my Apple TV and then logging back in, it sort of forced the home hub to rethink about itself. And by doing so, then I was able to get some of those location-based automations working. So that's what I needed to do. But that was annoying because then I had to reset everything and get it plugged back into the home app and say, yes, I want you to show my account on the home app, all that kind of stuff. Not a fun process. So I personally would rather have had it just be a matter of changing the time that the automation is meant to work.
Yeah. By the way, it is problem exists between the monitor and the chair, which is PMAC apparently.
PMAC.
So that's the fact that it's even just like monitor and not computer. It sounds like it dates it a little bit.
But yeah. Also PMAC.
It's like the person or the problem in the monitor and chair. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. So we wanted to do some follow-up too. You may remember that the Nest ecosystem was down for a period of time. And because of that, folks with Nest Aware subscriptions who pay, I think it's $5 a month or something like that, to have a Nest Aware subscription, they were saying, look, this whole time the system was down and that reminds me of that song, The System. This whole time the system was down. Thank you, And so it was a little frustrating that, you're paying for this service and it's not working and it wasn't saving your recordings, etc. And so they were sending out refunds. And I had mentioned at the time that I did not have an email yet. The article itself had mentioned that people weren't getting emails yet, despite having Nest Aware subscriptions. I did eventually get an email. I have gotten that email, gotten the refund. So if you haven't yet, then maybe now it's time to reach out to Google's support team, the Nest support team. But for me, it was all automatic. So yeah.
What are you going to spend the money on?
I'm going to spend the money on a new car.
A trip to Disneyland.
That would have been second, but Disneyland, yeah. No, I'm not. I don't know. I'll probably put the money toward the next month of Nest Aware.
That's what I was going to say, or like YouTube Premium or something like that.
Oh, yeah. I think Twit pays for that, though.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah. Let's not get into it. Hi, Leo.
No.
So let's talk about this article from iMore, which sort of it talks about the process of setting up the HomeKit accessory security for your router, your HomeKit enabled router, even though that's not technically what Apple's calling it. HomeKit accessory security basically has the home app and this sort of framework control what network connections your HomeKit accessories can make. And so on iMore, Christopher Close put together an article about here's what happens when you set your HomeKit router's highest security settings, which basically limits everything to your local area network.
Yeah, it was a great, I felt like it was just a nice follow-up walkthrough of if you want to know what it actually does to specific devices, where the Hue app stuff still, or Hue devices still worked through HomeKit, but then the app and the scenes that they had set there didn't. so it kind of locked out the Hue service and things like that. So it's pretty interesting. It is like I'm interested in investing in some cheap cameras just to like play around with a little bit, and I'll probably set them up with the highest security settings because the camera is the one thing that is like always creeps me out the most, especially when there are so many stories of like, oh, they can just watch your baby monitor and stuff like that. It's like, no thanks. So I'm glad now I'll have like a safe way to experiment with that, which is nice.
Yeah, I think pairing both the HomeKit secure, I keep forgetting the name because they bury it, the HomeKit accessory security, pairing that, which is a router-based solution, with HomeKit's camera system, which essentially, this is what's fascinating about it is, I don't know if you've ever set up a camera with it, but whenever I set up my Logitech Circle camera with it, the first thing they tell you is, this is going to replace the firmware on the camera. And so you have to be okay with doing this. This is going to be a whole new system. It's not going to have the same connections that it once had, et cetera. So you have to make sure that you're okay with doing that. And so, yes, are you? Or no, you're not. Of course, I chose yes. And in doing so, it completely makes the camera, save for firmware updates and things like that, a local area network system. And so whenever you pair these two together, you really can lock stuff down completely and have it where someone would have to come and get on. So you need to make sure that your home Wi-Fi network password isn't, kitty cat 123 or something like that. But if you do so, then it will set this up as a really secure process.
Nice.
I got distracted because I didn't know that Eufy made a security system. That was news to me. And it's listed here as the Eufy Security Home Base 2.
Gonna get it yourself?
We'll see. We'll see. So tell me, you've been I think I saw you tweet about it. You texted me about it. You've mentioned it. What is boosted board? Is this so let me tell you what I think it is. And then we'll figure out, I think it could be two things. One is an at-home massage therapy subscription. So you lay on the board and they massage you. And two is a what's that called? A surfboard with a jet pack on it.
It's close.
Okay.
It's one of those for the ground with wheels instead.
Oh, so it's a massage therapy subscription with wheels.
Yes, basically. No, it's my beloved electric skateboard company, which I think I'm just surprised because to me this came out of nowhere, mostly because these are
longboards.
Yeah, okay. They're just like expensive. So I always thought if you paid a lot of money, that hopefully that company's not going to be going out of business anytime soon. But yeah, it's like the super popular electric skateboards where they have a electric motor on them, and then you have a remote where you can wirelessly control the skateboard and like brake and stuff like that. So I've gone like down Lombard Street on my boosted board. That was the scariest thing I've ever done with it. Oh yeah, I went like down the windy route in San Francisco.
How do you pilot this thing?
That's what I'm saying is you have the little remotes so you can like go backwards and it like brakes for you. I mean, it doesn't matter because they're going out of business is the problem basically. I mean, hopefully they will not completely crash and burn.
Surely they're not going to just brick your device just because they're going out of business.
I mean, part of the problem was that I needed to repair mine, and I've seen that they basically laid off their entire staff. So like all their report stuff or all their support stuff. And then if you try to buy anything on their website right now, it says temporarily out of stock for a lot of things. So
yeah,
I think they're kind of trying to be like purchased by somebody. Otherwise, they're pretty much done for.
Temporarily seems a little disingenuous. What do you need fixed? Maybe I could. I love fixing things.
I mean, I'm not sure. It might just be like a washer that I need. I know I'm missing a washer, but in general, it's just making a noise when I wrote it. And then also the treads are like, I wore one out and then the other, and so now they're just like at different lengths, and so I don't think it's going as evenly. But it's amazing. Like it's for me, it opened up like Berkeley because I could ride like 7 miles on my skateboard, and just like I think the nicest thing is similar to like if there's any bike share in people's areas or scooters, is it's just really nice to go out and never like be in a car. Like you're just constantly outside and going from place to place. And it's always a little dangerous. Like with the boosted board, they go like 20 miles an hour or more. And so I pretty much always wear a helmet, but it was like I could run to the store and be back in like less than 15 minutes, which was pretty awesome. And you don't have to worry about parking and stuff, but
now
it's a shame.
Yeah, this is kind of cool. So what all could you do with it other than just zip around?
I mean, it's basically like a car and like a ride share thing that you own yourself instead. So I could like go to work on a daily basis with this or something like that. That's what I used to do.
Did it have I walk away from it and it says beep beep boop, you forgot me,
the remote will like freak out.
Cool.
You get pretty used to it's like pretty heavy. So I think the one thing was that it's like not it has like a very specific market, so I can see what problems they had. And even like what they were saying in the story is just like the taxes on technology companies in the last 2 years probably just destroyed them, like the tariff war and stuff like that.
Oh man,
it's kind of like, and I think they tried to like pivot into scooters, and that didn't really work. Like buying your own scooter. So I don't know. I was saying to my girlfriend, it's like I had no plans to buy another one because it was pricey enough that like I wanted to buy one and use it for like 10 years.
Yeah, they're not inexpensive. They look pretty pricey.
Yeah, but it was pretty fun. I'll try to get mine fixed up, and there's got to be some like squad of people now who will be like boosted boards forever. Like,
yes.
Never give up.
Just like the Pebble community. The way, yeah, I mean, that may sound like that's not a joke.
No, it's true though.
Yeah,
it's like I was gonna say it's probably still around.
Yeah, Pebble. There's a whole service for it so that you can keep using your Pebble devices. We talked to them not too terribly long ago on Tech News Weekly. We talked to iFixit about it, which was kind of fun.
Nice.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, speaking of things going out of business, but maybe not going out of business, but not sure what to say.
Maybe that's
about
a little
it.
Editorialization there.
Oh, come on. We know. No, Sonos, they had their little kerfuffle where their older devices, they really didn't want to offer support for anymore. So this really clever idea where you do this thing called recycle mode. And if you put your device in recycle mode, it essentially bricks the device and you can't take it out of recycle mode again. And so you put it in recycle mode and you send it in, and then you can get credit toward a new Sonos speaker. Well, people sometimes are like, well, actually, I think I just want to hold on to this. And they want to use it. You can't use it once it's in recycle mode. What's happening now? Because you are our boots on the ground Sonos reporter, given your situation.
They like have totally swung this where now basically I don't remember if recycle mode just isn't possible, but you can still get a trade-in as long as you have one of those old devices. And then now like it won't become a brick, and then perfectly good speakers go to waste. Where I think now I'll qualify for the trade-in without having to do anything just because I own the device. I don't have to like trade it in literally. It's just like a upgrade program, which I think makes a lot of sense and is pretty much what they should have done in the first place. But I mean, I get like those older ones won't be like added in new software updates and stuff like that. So I bet it will have issues, but it can still be like a single room speaker or something like that.
Yeah, in fact, I just saw it was the other day I was online and I saw a really cool project that lets you use a Raspberry Pi and you could connect it to whatever speakers you wanted to. So in this case, a Sonos. And you can make it AirPlay and Bluetooth and all sorts of things. Yeah.
Because I've been looking for that.
Let me see what that
There was an app called Sonos Automation for iOS that was supposed to just like give it Siri shortcut support, but I think it just kind of like doesn't work anymore, and it was updated a year ago, so it's kind of like
I'm going to include this link in the show notes. It's from Bellina.io. They make Etcher, which is an excellent little app that lets you flash different images onto SD cards. But Bellina also makes what's called Bellina Sound, and Bellina Sound is sort of the basis of this system. So let me include that here in the show notes. We'll just do a little insert row below.
Build your IoT project with Bellina.
Now, Matthew, let's not go peeking and sneaking now. I'm giving you the link, pal. I'm kidding. I see. All right, there's the link. And so, yeah, this is something that I was thinking about experimenting with, possibly setting up. And yeah, it says turn your old speakers or hi-fi into Bluetooth, AirPlay, and Spotify receivers with a Raspberry Pi and this step-by-step guide. Very cool, especially the fact that it can do AirPlay. That's what I'm most excited about.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So yeah, you just use a Raspberry Pi, with the audio jack connected to the hi-fi system or whatever, system you're wanting to use, put Bellina Sound on there, and then you can create your little system.
Have you tried, is there a Homebridge solution also? Because I've never actually looked for that.
I have not looked into that personally.
Homebridge Sonos. Okay. Add to reading list.
Yes, exactly.
I will do that later.
Yeah, I'm curious. Then you've got a project that you'll have to share if it works. Yeah, so that's recycle mode. Thank goodness they're getting rid of that. That was kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, I'd say they've recovered now. And I'm good. They're back to. I hope they're not going to go out of business, because then it's going to be another one of my things that doesn't work anymore. And oh man, now I'm sad.
I'm sorry. I do want to note, thank you to Scooter X in the chat. The system I was talking about to bring life back to your Pebble is called Rebel.io. And I will also include a link to that in the chat, or in the spreadsheet, and eventually.
They're rebels. Pebble rebels. Oh my god. I'm gonna go walk into the ocean.
You don't have a Pebble? I've got an original Pebble.
I do not.
Oh.
Are you a Pebble rebel?
No, but it needs to have a new battery, and I'm waiting for iFixit to source some. They maybe were at, it was one of those, well, we can't really talk about it, but kind of situations. Yeah, exactly. One of those eyebrow situations. So I've been waiting for them to source batteries for the Pebble in order to put in a new battery in order to be a part of this project. Just because, I don't know, the Pebble was kind of cool. I backed it when it was a Kickstarter project and was part of the original team that the boots on the ground street team making Pebble cool. No.
I'm sorry, I wasn't laughing at the concept of Pebble, just the name.
The Rebel name?
Yeah, just Pebble Rebel is too goofy. Entertaining to me. Clearly only to me, though. Not laughing at all.
This isn't funny. It's very
this is serious. I'm very into Pebble.
So this is good. I don't know why I'm making that face about it. Google, the assistant, it speaks in more languages now. And so you have web pages that, for whatever reason, whether it be, for you or I, for driving or for doing something else where we can't or should not be reading a web page and we want it to be read out loud, it can be read out loud. But for folks who have low or no vision or any other sort of concern to be able to read web pages out loud, we're at 42 languages, 42 different languages that the Google Assistant can speak for the web page reading.
Yes, this is just for Android also, where I'm starting to discover more Android-only stuff because I've been using my Samsung phone more and more. But I also have a Siri shortcuts alternative. That's why I stuck it in here too. But basically, on any page, you can just have it say "read this," and it'll read the screen out loud, which is nice. And Google's got their whole variety of languages and stuff like that too, so it works 42 languages. I got to make a list of the languages and see if Shortcuts itself can do the same type of stuff. But I mean, their feature is much better where you can like tap next to advance and stuff like that. So it just seems like a nice way to use like your voice technology a little bit more, because I actually find this super useful. Basically, I have like a shortcut that you can do get article from web page and then speak text. And so I'll actually do for web pages, and then also I do it for my own stories that I write. I listen to them out loud, and like you can really like hear when something sounds awkward, or like even just the fact that the assistant gets it wrong because it sounds like unnatural or something like that. And I'm just like sometimes don't want to sit there, and I constantly look down at screens all day long, and so like I'll like listen to my article on a walk and stuff like that. But also services like Pocket can read stories aloud that you save later as well. If anybody wants to try it out a little bit more, but the stuff is fun. I like voice things. It's really hard to integrate it into your life. But so when it becomes just like a feature that you can just like start from anywhere, it's pretty handy.
Yeah, I like that. No matter where you are on your device and whatever it happens to be that you're looking at, that there aren't a bunch of extra steps to make it happen. And the same thing with Android's captioning system, where they want to make captions available across all different types of videos. Yeah, I think that's a fantastic feature. Now, someone in the chat, I didn't see who it was in time, but I'm hoping they can share it again because it was a great smart object. It was a wristband of a sort that would help you when you went to touch your face, as you should not be doing. It'll zap you.
Nice. That's awesome.
So we'll see if that gets shared. There we go. Thank you, Scooter X. This is from TechCrunch. It's called ImmuTouch, which I assume is a play on immune and touch. That is a portmanteau of those two words. It's kind of clunky, but beggars can't be choosers. And it is a wristband that buzzes you to stop you touching your face. I can't tell. I think it might just buzz. I don't think it zaps. Yeah.
Interesting. They originally developed it to stop trichotillomania, which is a disorder that compels people to pull out their hair.
Oh, yes.
So it's like if you're constantly like tugging at your hair or whatever, or something more serious, they built this for that, but now it's repurposed for coronavirus protection.
I kind of want to get one. $50
each. How much is your health worth?
Okay, when you put it like that, it's on its way.
That's some like dark marketing there.
Yeah. Oh man, look at that. Oh man. Apparently they're ready for shipping right now, so
wow.
I might get one just to give it a go.
How often do you touch your face daily average? Oh my God.
See, and I don't know. I think that I don't that much, but I'm sure I do.
Ooh, that reminds me actually. Earlier I was looking at the workout, or what's it called? The activity app.
Yeah.
And I had never looked at that trends section. Have you ever looked at that? Because it was basically talking about there's a stand minutes, not per day but per hour, and it was like how many minutes out of every hour do you stand?
Oh wow.
And it's like it's terrifying because it's just like 8. And when you think about that, it's just like, I mean, I'm sure that's entirely dependent on what you do, like office workers for sure. But like that stat would be fascinating to see from people who have just like hourly jobs or something like that, where you're on your feet all day, because that right there is a sedentary lifestyle.
Yeah. Oh boy. That's not fun to read. I don't think I'm going to open that page.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to order that band and stop touching my face, and I'm going to stand up more. And apparently my Amazon Echo can do some new things.
I was trying this out earlier, getting commute directions and stuff like that. Okay, so they have send commute info to your phone, severe weather alerts. Oh God, my page is freaking out. The voting stuff, and then NBA games, which is prompting me to the last one. I need to get myself an Echo Show because it only works there. But
now, when he says the voting stuff, he means it gives you information about the presidential elections.
I'm going to go back over it. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I see.
I was just trying to summarize real quick. But basically what I was testing was if you just ask it to get directions now, it can tell you the information, but then you can say, send that to my phone, which is a little notification. And when you tap that, it opens it immediately in Apple Maps or Google Maps if you're using Android, which I thought that seemed really smart. Like, I don't think you can get directions with Siri and then send it to your phone to open it in Maps.
Interestingly, I'm not seeing, at least on CNET's page, where they're sourcing this data. One of the things under election information, you can say, where does candidate stand on specific issue? I'm really curious where they're getting this data, if this is a closed system, if they're using an open system. If it's open, this could be gamed, it could be changed. That makes me nervous. But I like that, you could, in theory, do this. I think I'm realizing that I'm going to need to do some sort of, it's going to be a dashboard sort of thing, and it's going to have all of the assistants in it. And then I'll always bring it for this show so that we can always ask and sort of get live previews of how these different things work. Because there's always new features that are added to the smart assistants and smart speakers. And I'm always curious how they work in the real world and what they actually sound like sort of whenever they're answering. Because especially that, where does candidate stand on specific issue? That is one that needs to be accurate.
Yeah, it takes it from their website. So it was like, I asked it, where does Joe Biden stand on healthcare? And it was like, I was like, this answer doesn't tell me anything. It sounds like marketing. Like, it was just like,
never mind.
I mean, it was.
I was going to say, it doesn't tell you anything. Just like
something
he doesn't.
Fair,
but,
and like, I don't know. Yeah, it was like pretty vague. I mean, that's what you get from politics in general, I guess. But it was like,
especially his.
I figured campaign. That one was when I first was looking at the article, like, I had like a brain fart and was asking Siri the same stuff, and she couldn't do anything like that. So I did kind of think of, if you were just like come across a candidate, I would have valued this earlier in the election, basically, like where there was more of a variety of people and it's not more clear, but it's just like, oh, I don't know what they think about this one thing. And honestly, like the idea of like Googling that and trying to figure it out is like not something that I really would want to do. So at least just asking it, I was like, oh, that was like, I knew about it, so I tried it, but it was still at least nice. Like, I don't know how discoverable that is, but
here, I want to go ahead. Thank you again, Scooter X. We'll include the link. There's a link to the blog post, and under it says, ALEXA is an objective source for elections information. We aim to provide the most relevant, accurate, and timely information about elections and candidates. We federate across hundreds of information sources, and we collaborate with nonpartisan organizations to provide customers with information on polls, ballots, results, and more. ALEXA herself does not have opinions on politics or candidates. Interesting that they say herself there. When it comes to news, ALEXA is a conduit. Not a conduit. I was going with candidate, but no. ALEXA is a conduit, not a news creator. Whenever possible, we let you choose which news providers you prefer to watch, listen to, and get live updates from. All right. I am going to link this as well, and it talks about what that. So thank you, Scooter X. We will link that as well.
The other two new features are just you can ask it to tell you when there's a severe weather alert, which I set that up. I don't know why it wouldn't just do that, or like some sort
about
of
that
prompt.
Sometimes because I don't have cable news or cable anymore. How will I know when I'm from Tornado Alley? So
oh wow.
We have sirens that go off whenever there's a tornado spotted, so there was no problem. I didn't really need, I already knew because you're going, what? Huh? Over the sirens. But yeah. And I shouldn't say, I'm not from Tornado Alley. I'm from Tornado Area, not specifically from the alley. We get tornadoes every year, but I'm not specifically in that area where you get many, many tornadoes. So
yeah,
save your emails.
Well, the last highlight is, the feature is highlights. If you watch NBA, you can like have your little show show you highlights of the latest game.
What about WNBA?
Nice. I do not know. Probably not, unfortunately, just because of how things. I would just assume.
All right, I'm flipping this table. I'm done. I'm out of here. No, I wonder. That's I would like that. Yeah, that is how that goes, unfortunately. But
yeah. Disc. Well, that my other little bit of follow-up related to this stuff is that I was having some trouble with my Amazon Echoes last night. This is just a quick story of how I was going insane because I don't know how it happened, but I'm pretty sure I asked my Echo to play music on my Sonos, and then I think I went into my phone and set it to also play on my HomePod, and then I asked the HomePod to stop playing, and it stopped, and then 10 seconds later, it started playing on the Sonos again, and so I stopped it. And then it started playing again, and so I stopped it. And then I unplugged all of the speakers in my house one by one and slowly started yelling because I was like, what is going on? I feel like what was happening was Amazon was trying to continue playing, and like something with the home or like the AirPlay connection got severed, but I was not happy about it. Because it was driving me up the wall. It was like, I don't think I've ever had a situation where I paused the thing and then it reactivated itself 4 times in a row. And I was like trying to yell at it to stop and it wasn't doing it and stuff like that. So I was like, I'm possessed, or somehow somebody is.
I'm possessed.
Somebody's got those, is outside my house sending those little millimeter waves that can like vibrate the surfaces.
Yes.
All the hacking.
Freaking lasers.
I'm getting hacked. I don't know. I have no idea if anyone else has had that same type of situation, but that is like one of the first times in a while that I've like physically unplugged the device to get it to stop doing something, which is not fun.
No, that's quite frustrating. In fact, I'm sorry that you ran into those issues.
Yeah, but hopefully everything will be resolved. Now my HomeKit automations are working. I can like my speakers, I think, are in a realm where they're finally set up and ready to go. So no more issues. Crossing my fingers. Although I guess I didn't mention it before that somehow I had to update my Eero, and then now my internet is like 1/10 of the speed. So it's still fast because it was super fast before, but something like the gateway switched into a different room, and I don't know how to switch it back now. So that will be probably another future project or something, or I'll just fix it and never talk about it again because I hate it.
Never talk about it again. I guess I didn't realize that you could set up the Sonos speakers in that way, that they sort of are or they're supposed to be that integrated with the system. Because in fact, I was just doing some information today. I was playing around with some stuff today with the Echo devices that I have, and realized that you can have your communications take place with the device, but choose to have the be different from
the default audio.
Default speaker, which I think is really fascinating. So if you did have a Sonos system that you had integrated, then I could use my Echo Show 5 or Echo Show 8 or whatever to be the one that I actually communicate with, and then have a better speaker be the thing that it talks from and messages to.
I think that was part of the problem, because the speaker it was connected to is not AirPlay compatible, but it was grouped with an AirPlay one. So I turned off the group part, but then it was still sending the signal to the other one. I'm not sure. I just switched around the whole system to try to mess around with it, and I actually got my Echo better positioned and everything, so I'm using it a little bit more now, which is nice too. But it is like I have to like basically have like a guide for my girlfriend just to be like, so if you want to play music in the kitchen, you have to AirPlay to the other room and then group it in the Sonos. That's why I want Sonos automation stuff, so I can just have it connect together automatically without having to go into the app. But
yeah, because that's not ideal.
Yeah, exactly. It's like voice control, but except for the playback part, it's like, oh, okay.
And you can never really convince other people to hop on board whenever it.
Yeah, she just doesn't use it. Well, that's the theory right now is that you can just use the Echo to play the music because of that playback thing. And I also just put the Google Home back down there, or I did that a couple weeks ago, I guess. And that's also, we mentioned this a few weeks ago, but the Google Home stuff now also has the Sonos as the default speaker option, if anybody wants to try that.
Cool. Yeah. Alrighty. Well, we're going to take a quick break before we get to projects and things like things of that nature. And I am excited to say that this week's episode of Smart Tech Today, it's brought to you by Casper. Yes, an online retailer of premium mattresses for a fraction of the cost. Casper's products are cleverly designed to mimic human curves, providing supportive comfort for all kinds of bodies. Listen, you spend a third of your life sleeping. You got 3/3 to make up your whole life. 2/3 you're awake and at 'em, and one third, this one, you're asleep. So you better be doing what's right. You better get good sleep. You want to be comfortable. The original Casper mattress is one way to find that comfort. It combines multiple supportive memory foams for a quality sleep surface with a right amount of both sink and bounce. Its breathable design helps you sleep cool and regulates your body temperature throughout the night. That's important for me. I get a little hot, and so it's nice to have that nice breathable sleep. And with over 20,000 reviews and an average of 4.8 stars across Casper, Amazon, and Google, Casper is becoming the internet's favorite mattress. Now, it's not just the original Casper mattress. They've got 3 other mattresses, the Wave, the Essential, and the Hybrid. The Wave has a patent-pending premium support system to mirror the natural shape of your body. The Essential, that's the easy one. It has a streamlined design with a price that won't keep you up at night. And then the Hybrid, that's what Leo's rolling around on there if you're watching video. It combines the pressure relief of the award-winning foam with durable yet gentle springs. It's got springs, folks. Casper also offers a wide array of other products. There's pillows, there's sheets, there's the Casper Glow Lamp. There's all that stuff to ensure an overall better sleep experience. I've got, even before I joined Twit, before any of this, I bought my Casper mattress. I've got the Casper box springs, the Casper bed frame, the Casper sheets, the Casper pillows, all of it, because I love Casper. I love the night sleep that it's given me. That 1/3 that I want, very important. So you should definitely check it out. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, they don't have stores. They're sort of sending these products directly to you. It's kind of important to know what it feels like to be on a mattress and sort of sleep on it. Don't you worry. You can be sure of your purchase with Casper's 100-night risk-free sleep on it trial. That's right. You can sleep on this thing for 100 nights to make sure it's right for you. Oh, yeah, they also got that weighted blanket, which those are pretty trendy right now. I've never used one myself, but eyeball it from time to time. Casper also offers free shipping and painless returns to the U.S. and Canada, so if you do choose to send it back, they make it super simple to do so. You can get a Casper mattress today and save $100 towards select mattresses by visiting casper.com/STT and using the code STT at checkout. You head to casper.com/STT and use the code STT at checkout. $100 off select mattresses when you do that. Now, terms and conditions do apply. We thank Casper so much for sponsoring this week's episode of Smart Tech Today, and as I always say, for sponsoring my good night's sleep. Thank you, Casper. Alrighty. Crack my neck here, sort of get ready. I wanted to talk about a little project that I am in the midst of working on because I felt like a real code warrior digger into APIs,
automation ninja,
an automation ninja, an APK spelunker, man in the middle attacker. I'll explain it. I did do a little bit of that in an okay way. So what's going on? Well, as we have mentioned here before on this show, Matthew and I personally have HomeKit enabled homes. We use Apple's system for controlling our homes, and there are other processes as well. There are, I think you've got Echo devices and Google Assistants and all that kind of stuff. I do as well. So we have multiple ways to control them, but the main way that mine works is through HomeKit. Well, there are some devices on my network that are not HomeKit enabled either in their current form or at all. And so my garage, for example, the garage door opener, it has a device that allows me to control it via an app, but unless you buy another product to go along with that, you can't use it with Apple's HomeKit unless you use Homebridge. So we talked a little bit about Homebridge before. We talk about it on and off. It's one of our sort of recurring projects. But I have in my home a robotic vacuum cleaner. It is the Eufy RoboVac, and it is a robotic vacuum cleaner that works really well. I've had it for a long time. I think I upgraded it right before I moved to California, so that was in July of 2019. And I have not really made use of it in a while. It's sort of sitting plugged in, ready for me to have it rolling. And so the other day I thought, I wonder if I can make this vacuum cleaner work with my home app for iOS so that I could say, hey, you know who, vacuum the floors, and then it would turn on and do a floor cleaning and turn off again. So I went digging, and there was a Homebridge plugin for the Eufy RoboVac.
Nice.
However, you have to have very specific API codes. You have to have a thing called the local ID and the device ID, and as well as the IP. But the IP is easy to find. I go into my Eero app, I look for the Eufy RoboVac, and I can see what IP it's currently assigned to. No problem. But the other two require some absolute backbending magic. And it turns out that the way that it was originally done, Eufy just updated its system to take advantage of a new Internet of Things service called Tuya that does encryption between the host and the device. And so it's very difficult to figure out the proper things. So what do you do? Well, or what do you think you do? Well, you continue to dig and you look it up and you figure out that if you take out your Android device and you install the Eufy Home app on the Android device, and then you turn on USB debug mode for the developer. So you have to go into the settings and tap on the version number 7 times to enable developer mode on your Android device. And then Google says, congratulations, you're a developer, or something like that. It's really funny.
Wow.
Then you turn on USB. Yeah, exactly. Then you turn on USB developer mode. You plug it into your MacBook Pro. You realize that you can't just do stuff directly from the terminal. No, you have to install Android Studio, which is the developer platform for developing apps for Android, similar to Xcode for iOS. So then I download Android Studio so that I can use, I think it's called Logcat, and it is the system for seeing the conversation that basically everything the device does. If you're familiar with iOS development, it's like console, and so it shows you the logs of everything the device is doing, spitting out different communications. So you plug that in, you launch Eufy Home, and then you're able to see the handshake that takes place as the app goes and looks for the robot on your local area network and talks to it and communicates with it.
Mhm.
Well, with the old firmware, before they switched to Tuya, the newest version of Tuya, that was fine. That worked. The code was available in there because you were essentially looking at the communications taking place between the two directly from the app to the device on your local network. And so that was how you could see it. So I was thinking that it was basically encrypted because it was, an actual Google Pixel device that has its own encryption. And I was trying to understand why mine wasn't working. And I didn't quite get that it was because they upgraded to a new service. And so I downloaded something called BlueStacks, which BlueStacks is an Android emulator that you can install on your Mac, on a Mac OS machine, or you can install it anywhere. It's an emulator for the Android system. So I installed BlueStacks, and I virtually installed the Eufy Home app using BlueStacks on the emulator on my Mac, and then used Android Studio's logcats to try and see the log and see the information there. And I thought, okay, since it's just an emulator, it's not going to have all the security features that an actual Google Pixel would have. Then I'll be able to see. Alas, no, the information was not in there. So I discovered what the problem was, that it was a newer version of the API that has better encryption and all this other stuff. And so what you have to do, and I'm currently in the process of waiting for this, is you have to sign up for a Tuya account. And then you, after you sign up for a Tuya account, you have to ask for access to the cloud API. When you get access to the cloud API, you get a special set of codes that basically is your personal identifier for the cloud API. And then you can connect your local device that's using Tuya for the IoT management. You can connect it using some command line tools that I've installed to use with Terminal. So at that point, because it's directly with Tuya, I will be able to see the code and be able to connect my stupid RoboVac to.
This is all just to get like a piece of info off of it, not even to.
Yeah, this is all it is so that I know what the app is calling the device whenever it's trying to communicate with it.
Well, I was gonna say, if you are signing up for their cloud service and you have like an API key and everything that connects specifically to your device, you can probably use that with shortcuts to make API requests and like directly tell your vacuum to turn on without even using Homebridge.
Yeah, that's true.
And even just like the home automations in shortcut or in Home app and shortcuts, you can convert an automation to a shortcut and make web requests directly. I mean, the Homebridge plugin, I guess, is probably just easier than that, but we should maybe we should get together and try that out, because that would be fun to like. I love tapping into if you have an API key and something that doesn't need to like do the whole it's called OAuth when it brings up the thing that's like sign in with Twitter. Right. As long as you don't have to do that and you have the right information, you can make like web requests like that from something like shortcuts. But that's pretty much what Homebridge does for you, and probably in less complex ways because somebody else already figured it out.
Yeah. So it's
that's cool.
Yeah, it was. It's still ongoing. So I just keep refreshing that page, waiting for them to say, yes, you can have access to our cloud API, because your application gets reviewed by an actual physical human being.
Yeah.
So it takes a couple days, and they're like, you can contact our staff directly if you want the process expedited. But I'm like, no, I don't want you to know that I'm trying to get access to this, because then you're going to deny it because I'm doing secret things.
I mean, it sounds legit. Like
it's
I guess.
Well, there's above board and below board. I'm surfboard.
Well, I was going to say it sounds like their old system, somebody else could just hack into your robot cleaner and like track where you are, your house shape or something.
Yeah.
Or like, I think I did see a story that was like
they can terrorize
the cameras on certain brands of vacuums can be hacked, and so people can be looking through your robot vacuum cleaner in your house.
Mine does not have any cameras on it thank goodness.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, no thanks.
Ugh. Alrighty, so that was my wild project for the week. Let's go ahead and move on to our picks of the week. And by the way, if you have questions out there, we got to answer some great questions the past couple of weeks. You can send those to stt@twit.tv. I'm also going to set up a little topic on twit.community because I did so for Hands on iOS, asking for things that people would want me to cover, and I've gotten some great feedback there. So if you're not a member of the twit.community community, you just head to literally twit.community, hit enter, and you will be able to see and sign up for access to our online sort of web forum. Alrighty, Matthew, what is your pick of the week?
This is my Dear Darling Airtable, and this is a service that's kind of like a web-based database / spreadsheet / like you can turn it into anything type of web service, where I'm basically using this right now to track every idea that I've had in the last 3 years, and then also all of my shortcuts, like pretty much every app that I've ever used, every post, video, podcast.
Is this like
and then
Pinterest for nerds?
That's actually pretty accurate. I mean, it's not for like making collections. I mean, I guess it is. Oh God, it is.
Yeah, sounds like you have collections of ideas. No, I've used. I kid. I've used Airtable before. I used to use Airtable for work, and I did not like it. Because
I can see it being forced on you, not being fantastic.
Yes, that's where it wasn't fun. If it's forced on you.
It's like it sounds like a really good way to collaborate for certain types of things, but it's not like you can't like not use Slack and just use Airtable.
Right.
It like works with stuff like
with
that
other
really well.
stuff. Yeah.
But basically, for me, it's like I used to do some data analysis stuff, so it has a lot of the power of something like it's sort of like in between Excel and like a SQL database where you have to like do all the requests yourself and stuff like, or queries. That's the word I was looking for. But with Airtable, you can have it set up with like different views on the same data. So like a big thing that's really nice is a spreadsheet you can basically turn into like Trello columns, a Kanban board, and just by like having, if one of the items has like a single select, you can pretty much change the view automatically and just like move things in between columns instead of selecting around. But it all interhooks into each other also. So like I can like know that on this episode I use this shortcut and then go into that shortcut, get the link and get all the data. And it has like an open API, which is really, it's built off of the data that you put into it. So it's easy to understand because you can, or easier at least. I don't know about easy to understand. But yeah, I'm using the heck out of this. And the app that goes with it is called Shortcutify, which almost got rejected by Apple. And I have no idea if this is true, but they were like, we're not going to be accepted. And I was like, Apple, you should reverse this decision on Twitter. And I feel like they did because I was making a stink about. I mean, it was like I was like, you guys are strangling. I don't know. There's like 3 or 4 shortcuts type developers, and this was one of them. And now that it's out, I've been using the heck out of it. It just lets you basically take the shortcuts API information and turn it into a shortcut action, or the Airtable API information, and put it in shortcuts. So you can, like, I literally like learned how to do all this fancy programming stuff, and this abstracts it for you. So this is really nice. But yeah, Airtable itself is the service behind it all, and I'm literally spending like maybe 3 to 4 weeks fleshing this out entirely, because right now it's how I have all my shortcuts shared on my website. And I'm like tracking everything we talk about on this show, because it is surprisingly, when you do stuff every week and then tons of other things and tweet it all out, it's like, I have no idea what I talked about like 3 months ago or something. I mean, I do, but it is still just like very specific information now, and I can interact with it all with Siri and my HomePod. So it's very excessive, and it'll take me a while to like make it a shareable form or something like that. But Airtable is amazing.
I wonder why did they reject it in the beginning?
It's kind of like, it's kind of like encouraging people to sign up. I mean, I don't know, first of all, but it is like encouraging people to sign up for APIs and get their client keys and stick them in here so that you can use it, which is like in the realm of being a little bit sketchier. But it's not actually doing any of that itself. Like it's your choice. So nobody's going to like accidentally have this happen.
I see.
I'm not sure. Yeah. But it is like, I think in general, even Shortcuts' original version workflow, when it first came out, broke all of the App Store rules and they rejected it. That's even how I heard of it the first time, was it finally getting approved because it was trying to do interactive stuff in the widget, which Apple didn't want to happen. So I can't tell if it's like technically what the current rules are. It like was not going against them, but maybe those rules should be rewritten in the era of Shortcuts, when this is the only way that people can like access these services is through something like this. So
gotcha.
Who knows?
Alrighty. Well, my pick of the week is an app and service called Parallels Access. This is a way to remotely access and manage your computer while you're away from it. For $19.99 a year, just $20 a year, you can have the app and multiple computers. You install Parallels Access on those computers, and then from your phone or iPad, you can quite literally access the desktop. So it's not as if you are accessing just files on the desktop or anything like that. No, you see an actual screen of your desktop. You can launch the apps. So the power is happening on that end. So I can launch full-on Photoshop and do stuff on Photoshop all from my iPhone or iPad with Parallels. Now, I've seen this used. It's funny. One way that I saw this used was many, many years ago. My friend's parents, they they still do, they own an industrial sewing company. And they were on vacation. They invited me along. I was on vacation with them. And the shop, the place where they do all of their stuff, there was something going on with the orders, and they couldn't get the order forms to print properly or come through properly. And so we were on this stretch of land where there was hardly any signal, and we got to a place where there were just a few bars. We pulled over, and Chuck launches Parallels Access. He gets and connects to the computer in the shop and does what he needed to do to get it working. Yeah, and then we're back on our vacation again. I had forgotten about this service, and it's very rare that I need to do it. Our iOS devices, our Android devices, our mobile devices in general are quite powerful and have a lot of apps, but a lot of apps and a lot of features built in. But every once in a while, there might be something that's on your computer that you need, that just having access to, the file in Dropbox, or maybe you forgot to put the file in Dropbox or something like that. This is a way to be able to control and access your PC while you're away from it. So yeah, Parallels Access. Like I said, it's an app available in the App Store. You can do a subscription in there, $19.99 a year, and then you just get the app for your PC and install it there.
Honestly, it's a good sign that you used it that long ago and it's still around.
Yes, still works quite well, which is pretty great.
And you said it's
updated.
Mac or PC, both?
Yeah. Nice. Parallels Access. It's on. That's cool. Does it all.
You describing that made me think of the guy at the Apple Store like pitching me on Mobile Me when I first bought a Mac.
Oh, wow.
Where it's like, imagine you went to class and you needed to get your term paper and it was back on your old computer, and this could like sync your files over. Like, at least at the time, it was like that was like a brand new thing. Yeah, but it is like that was like my first Mac experience or something like that.
Wow. That's awesome. Mobile me.
Nice.
Well, folks, as I mentioned, you can email us at stt@twit.tv. We, of course, record the show live every Monday at about 7 p.m. Eastern, which is 4 p.m. Pacific, and that's 2300 UTC. Now, if you don't want to tune in live and you just want to get this episode right when it's ready, right when it goes up, you head to twit.tv/STT. That will give you links to the show in all of its various forms and all of the podcast apps and whatnot that you might use, or, on YouTube if that's where you choose to view. If you want to follow Matthew, all his work and all that jazz, how do people do that, Matthew?
It's at Matt Cassinelli on Twitter, and then on my website you can find my embedded Airtable of shortcuts, and that's matthewcassinelli.com/Siri-shortcuts. Or just, it's in the menu bar on my website. But
For some reason mine auto-populated whenever I started to type that in. So
I think we did it last week,
before.
so...
I've been to that page. Oh, yeah, I do remember these embedded Airtables. Now I know what they're talking about. All right, there we go. Schedule lunch.
Yeah, I have a shortcut up there right now that's wash hands, and it just sets a timer for 20 seconds, so you can actually know whether or not it's been 20 seconds or not, because I feel like people wash their hands a little too short of time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Creepy. If you want to follow me online, you can find me at Mikah Sargent on pretty much all of the social things. You can follow Twit on Twitter at TWIT, on Instagram at twit.tv, and on TikTok at twittalk. You can also head to chihuahua.coffee, CHIHUAHUA.coffee. That's my website where I've got links to all the different things we do online. Yeah, I think that's going to take care of it. Now it's time to say goodnight to all your smart assistants.
Good night, boosted boards.
Oh.
On the latest Hands-On Photography, we talk about all of the different camera angles. We got low camera angles that are so menacing and mean, or comfortable eye-level camera angles, or up high above the subject camera angles. All of these camera angles have different meanings and different use case, and I talk about each and every one of them on Hands-On Photography. Make sure you hit download and subscribe to check it all out. Check it out at twit.tv/hop.